In today's story, we delve into the heart-wrenching journey of a young woman named Emily, who faced the daunting challenge of breaking free from her toxic and controlling parents. From the suffocating confines of her childhood home to the liberating but uncertain path of independence, Emily's story is a powerful testament to the strength and resilience required to reclaim one's life and identity. Have you ever felt trapped in a toxic family environment, unsure if you have the courage to escape and start anew? Emily's journey is a raw and inspiring tale that speaks to anyone who has ever battled the pain of familial control and the struggle to find their own voice. Join us as we explore the emotional highs and lows of breaking free and discovering the true meaning of independence. From a young age, Emily knew her home wasn't like those of her friends. While other kids talked about family vacations and school projects, Emily navigated a tense atmosphere of expectations and control. "Emily, have you finished your homework yet?" Sarah's voice rang out from the kitchen, sharp and demanding. "Yeah, Mom, just finishing up," Emily replied, hunching over her textbooks in her room. Mark's booming voice followed. "Make sure it's done right. We expect nothing less than perfect grades." Emily sighed, pushing back a strand of her hair. She knew any slip-up would lead to hours of lectures about responsibility and the future. Their standards were high, their patience thin. As she grew older, the pressure intensified. Simple mistakes turned into grounds for punishment. Every decision, from what classes to take to whom she spent time with, required their approval. One evening, Emily dared to express a desire to pursue art classes. Sarah's face darkened. "Art? What kind of future do you think you'll have with that nonsense? You need to focus on practical subjects." Mark chimed in, "We know what's best for you, Emily. We're trying to prepare you for success." "But Dad, I love art. I want to explore my creativity," Emily argued, her voice trembling with frustration. "No arguments, Emily. This is not up for discussion," Sarah said firmly, ending the conversation. As Emily closed her bedroom door that night, she felt suffocated by their expectations. It was clear her dreams took a back seat to their ambitions. This environment of control and stifled expression planted the seeds of doubt and longing for freedom that would grow stronger with time. Emily's 18th birthday loomed closer, bringing with it a sense of urgency and determination. She knew she couldn't live under her parents' control forever. The pressure had become unbearable, stifling her dreams and suffocating her spirit. One evening, at the dinner table, Emily broached the subject tentatively. "Mom, Dad, I've been thinking." Sarah glanced up from her plate, her expression guarded. "What is it, Emily?" "I've decided. I want to take some time for myself. Maybe travel abroad for a while," Emily said, trying to gauge their reaction. Mark frowned, setting down his fork with a clink. "Travel? For what purpose? You need to focus on your studies and career." "I know, Dad, but I feel like I need to explore the world, find my own path," Emily replied, her voice steady but tinged with nervousness. Sarah's voice cut through the tension. "Emily, this is impractical. You have responsibilities here." "I've been responsible my whole life, Mom. I need this," Emily insisted, her eyes pleading. Mark shook his head. "You're being naive, Emily. Life isn't about chasing dreams. It's about stability and making smart choices." Emily's frustration boiled over. "But what about my happiness? What about doing something for myself, for once?" Silence hung heavy in the air as Emily's words echoed in the dining room. She knew this conversation would be the tipping point. Either she would capitulate and continue living a life dictated by her parents, or she would take a leap into the unknown. Finally, Sarah spoke, her voice softer but resolute. "Think about this carefully, Emily. Running away won't solve anything." "I'm not running away, Mom. I'm choosing to live," Emily said firmly, pushing back from the table and retreating to her room. Alone in the quiet of her bedroom, Emily weighed her options. She knew breaking free wouldn't be easy. It meant leaving behind everything familiar, facing uncertainty, and possibly disappointing her parents. Yet, deep down, she knew it was the only way to reclaim her autonomy and pursue her own happiness. Emily's decision to break free ignited a flurry of clandestine planning. Every spare moment was spent strategizing how to leave without alerting her parents. Late one night, Emily sat in her room with her laptop open, researching flights and destinations. She knew she had to act swiftly and discreetly. "I can't believe you're seriously considering this," Emily's best friend, Jessica, whispered over a video call. "It's like something out of a movie." "I have to, Jess. I can't stay here anymore," Emily replied, her voice barely above a whisper, glancing nervously towards her closed bedroom door. "But how will you do it? They'll notice if you start packing," Jessica pointed out, concern etched on her face. I'm only taking essentials. Clothes, my laptop, a few personal items, Emily explained, her fingers tapping anxiously on the keyboard. What about money? You'll need funds, Jessica reminded her, leaning in closer to the screen. I've been saving up. Plus, I have a little tucked away in a separate account they don't know about, Emily said, a flicker of determination in her eyes. Jessica sighed. Just promise me you'll be safe, Em. Promise you'll keep in touch. I will, Jess. I promise, Emily replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. The next day, Emily began discreetly packing a small suitcase while her parents were out running errands. She carefully selected items she couldn't bear to leave behind, folding clothes with precision and packing them away neatly. Emily, what are you doing? Sarah's voice startled her as she zipped up her suitcase. Emily turned to see her mother standing in the doorway, her expression a mix of confusion and concern. I'm organizing my stuff, Emily stammered, her heart racing. Sarah stepped closer, eyeing the packed suitcase. Why? Where do you think you're going? Emily took a deep breath, summoning all her courage. Mom, I need to do this. I need to go away for a while, figure things out. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. But why, Emily? We love you. We want what's best for you. Emily shook her head, tears welling up in her own eyes. I know, Mom, but I need to find my own path. I can't do that here. Mark's voice echoed from downstairs. What's going on up there? Sarah glanced nervously towards the staircase before turning back to Emily. Promise me you'll stay safe. Promise you'll call. I promise, Mom, Emily said softly, hugging her mother tightly before grabbing her suitcase and heading towards the door. As she walked out, emotions roiled inside her. Fear, excitement, and a glimmer of hope for a future of her own making. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but she also knew it was the first step towards reclaiming her life. Emily's departure day arrived amidst a whirlwind of nerves and anticipation. As she stood in the airport lobby with her suitcase by her side, she felt a mix of excitement and apprehension about the journey ahead. Mark and Sarah insisted on driving her to the airport, their faces tight with worry and disapproval. The tension in the car was palpable as they navigated through traffic towards the terminal. Silence hung heavy in the car until Mark finally spoke. His voice strained. Emily, are you sure about this? Running away won't solve your problems. Emily took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation she knew was coming. Dad, I'm not running away. I'm taking control of my life. Sarah turned around in her seat, her eyes pleading, Emily, please reconsider. We just want what's best for you. I know, Mom. But what's best for me right now is to do this, Emily replied firmly, staring out the window. They arrived at the airport, and Emily retrieved her suitcase from the trunk. The three of them walked towards the terminal entrance, the atmosphere tense and charged with unspoken emotions. As they approached the security checkpoint, Emily could feel her parents' anxiety mounting. She hugged them both tightly, tears threatening to spill from her eyes. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad, Emily whispered, her voice choked with emotion. Mark pulled her into a tight embrace, his voice breaking. Please be safe, Emily. Call us when you get there. Sarah kissed Emily on the cheek, tears streaming down her face. Promise me you'll take care of yourself. Promise you'll come back. Emily nodded, her own tears now falling freely. I promise, Mom. I promise, Dad. Reluctantly, they released each other, and Emily turned towards the security checkpoint. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her trembling hands as she handed her boarding pass to the security guard. Excuse me, miss, the security guard said politely, scanning her boarding pass. Are you traveling alone? Emily nodded, her heart racing. Yes, I am. Mark and Sarah stepped forward, their faces determined. We're accompanying our daughter to the gate, Mark declared firmly. The security guard glanced between them, his expression sympathetic but firm. I'm sorry, sir, ma'am. Airport policy states that only passengers with valid boarding passes can proceed beyond this point. Sarah's voice rose in desperation. But she's our daughter. We have to see her off. Emily interjected. Mom, Dad, please. I need to do this on my own. Mark's frustration was evident as he turned to the security guard. Surely there's some leeway here. She's just a young girl. The security guard shook his head apologetically. I understand, sir, but rules are rules. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Emily, please don't do this. Come home with us. Emily shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I can't, Mom. I need to go. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of pleading and arguing, Mark and Sarah reluctantly backed away. Emily watched them walk back towards the entrance, her heart heavy with guilt and sadness. As she turned back towards the security checkpoint, she saw the security guard watching her with a compassionate gaze. "You okay, miss?" he asked gently. Emily nodded, wiping tears from her cheeks. "I will be. Thank you." With a deep breath, Emily gathered her courage and walked through the security checkpoint alone. She knew this was just the beginning of her journey towards freedom, despite the heart-wrenching confrontation with her parents. Emily stood at the security checkpoint, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. The encounter with her parents had left her shaken, but she knew she couldn't turn back now. She took a deep breath, trying to compose herself as the security guard looked on with concern. "Are you okay, miss?" the security guard asked, his voice gentle. Emily nodded, forcing a small smile. "I will be. It's just hard." He nodded understandingly. "It's never easy saying goodbye, especially under tough circumstances." Emily sighed, glancing back towards where her parents stood, watching her with a mixture of worry and disappointment. They mean well, but they just don't understand. The security guard leaned in slightly, his tone sympathetic. Family can be like that sometimes. They want what they think is best for you, even if it doesn't align with what you need. Emily nodded, feeling a lump form in her throat. "I know, but I need to do this for myself." Just then, Sarah's voice echoed across the terminal. "Emily, please come back. We can talk about this." Emily turned to see her mother rushing towards her, tears streaming down her face. "Mom, please," Emily pleaded, her own voice breaking. "I need to go." Sarah reached out, trying to grab Emily's hand, but the security guard gently stepped in between them. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but she needs to go through alone." Mark appeared beside Sarah, his face a mix of frustration and resignation. "Emily, this isn't the right way to handle things. You're making a mistake." Emily shook her head, tears flowing freely now. "I'm not making a mistake, Dad. I need to find myself, away from all of this." Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. "But we love you, Emily. We just want you to be safe and happy." "I know, Mom," Emily replied softly, her resolve unwavering. "But I can't stay here. I need to do this." Mark took a step closer, his voice pleading. "Can't you wait? Think about this more carefully. We can work things out." Emily closed her eyes briefly, trying to steady herself. "I've thought about this for a long time, Dad. I need to leave now." The security guard intervened again, his tone firm but compassionate. "I'm sorry, folks. Emily needs to proceed through security now." Sarah's shoulders slumped in defeat, tears continuing to stream down her cheeks. "Emily, please promise you'll call us. Let us know you're okay." "I will, Mom," Emily promised, her voice choked with emotion. "I promise." With a final, tearful glance at her parents, Emily turned and walked through the security checkpoint. She could hear their voices calling out to her, begging her to reconsider. But she knew she had to keep moving forward. It was the hardest thing she had ever done, but deep down, she knew it was the only way to reclaim her life and find the peace she desperately needed. Emily passed through the security checkpoint, her heart heavy with the weight of leaving her parents behind. As she walked towards the departure gate, she noticed a kind-faced airport staff member watching her intently. "Hey there, everything okay?" the staff member asked with a warm smile, noticing Emily's tear-streaked face. Emily managed a small nod, trying to compose herself. "Yeah, I'm just leaving home for the first time." The staff member nodded sympathetically. "It can be tough. Where are you headed?" Emily took a deep breath, wiping away tears. "I'm flying overseas. I need to get away for a while." "That sounds like a big step," the staff member remarked kindly. "Do you have everything you need? Passport, boarding pass?" Emily nodded, offering a weak smile. "Yeah, I'm all set. It's just my parents." The staff member's expression softened. "Family stuff, huh? That can be really hard." Emily glanced back towards the security checkpoint where her parents stood, their faces filled with worry and uncertainty. "Yeah, they don't understand why I need to do this." The staff member leaned in slightly, her voice gentle. "Sometimes, we have to do things for ourselves, even if others don't agree. It's about finding your own path." Emily sighed, feeling a mix of relief and guilt. "I know. It's just so hard to leave them like this." "They'll come around," the staff member reassured her. "Parents usually do. They just want what's best for you, even if it's hard for them to see right now." Emily nodded, grateful for the staff member's understanding. "Thank you. It helps to hear that." "Just remember, you're not alone," the staff member said warmly. "We're here to help if you need anything." As Emily made her way towards the departure gate, she felt a wave of gratitude for the kindness of the airport staff. Their support gave her a sense of reassurance and strength as she embarked on this daunting journey. Despite the emotional turmoil of leaving her parents behind, she knew deep down that she was making the right decision for herself. Emily stood in line at the boarding gate, clutching her boarding pass tightly. The airport buzzed around her with the hum of conversations and the shuffle of luggage, but her mind was focused on the monumental step she was about to take, boarding the flight alone. As she approached the gate, a flight attendant greeted her with a warm smile. "Good afternoon. May I see your boarding pass, please?" Emily handed over her pass, her hands trembling slightly. "Sure. Here it is." The flight attendant scanned the pass and returned it with a kind smile. "Thank you, Emily. Have a safe flight." "Thank you," Emily replied softly, her voice barely above a whisper. She stepped onto the jet bridge, feeling a surge of nerves and excitement. This was it, the moment she had been planning and preparing for, despite the emotional turmoil it had caused with her parents. Just as she was about to step onto the plane, a familiar voice called out from behind her, "Emily, wait." She turned to see her father, Mark, hurrying towards her, his expression a mix of desperation and concern. "Dad, what are you doing here?" Emily asked, her heart racing. Mark reached her side, his breath slightly labored from running. "Emily, please. You can't do this. Come back with us." Emily shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "Dad, I have to go. I need this." Mark's voice cracked with emotion. "But we're your family. We love you. Please don't leave like this." Emily struggled to keep her composure, knowing she couldn't afford to miss her flight. "I'm sorry, Dad. I need to do this for myself." Sarah appeared beside Mark, her face streaked with tears. "Emily, please reconsider. We'll figure this out together." Emily hesitated, torn between her love for her parents and her need for independence. The other passengers shuffled past them, casting curious glances at the emotional scene unfolding. The flight attendant stepped forward, her tone gentle but firm. "I'm sorry, sir, ma'am. Emily needs to board the flight now." Mark turned to the flight attendant, his frustration evident. "Can't you see she's not ready for this? She's just a kid." The flight attendant maintained her professional demeanor. "I understand, sir. But Emily is an adult and has the right to travel alone." Emily took a step towards the plane, her heart aching with the weight of her decision. "I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. Please try to understand." Sarah reached out, her hand trembling. "Emily, wait. Just promise you'll call us. Promise you'll be safe." Tears streamed down Emily's face as she nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. She hugged her parents tightly, feeling their warmth and love one last time before releasing them reluctantly. "I promise, Mom. I promise, Dad," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible over the din of the airport. With one final glance back at her parents, Emily turned and walked onto the plane. She found her seat by the window and settled in, watching through tear-blurred eyes as the airport disappeared from view. As the plane taxied down the runway and lifted into the sky, Emily felt a mix of sadness and relief. She knew this journey was just beginning, and while leaving her family behind was heart-wrenching, she also felt a glimmer of hope for the future she was determined to carve out for herself. Emily settled into her seat on the plane, the gentle hum of the engines providing a backdrop to her turbulent thoughts. As she stared out of the window, the sprawling cityscape below slowly faded from view, replaced by endless clouds stretching towards the horizon. Her mind raced with memories of the emotional standoff at the airport, the tearful farewells with her parents still fresh in her mind. She closed her eyes, trying to calm the storm of emotions within her. Across the aisle, a friendly-looking elderly woman smiled at Emily. "Are you all right, dear? Flying alone for the first time?" Emily nodded, managing a weak smile. "Yes, it's just a lot to take in." The woman nodded knowingly. Leaving home is never easy, especially under such circumstances. Emily glanced down at her hands, twisting the fabric of her sweater nervously. "I know I made the right decision, but it's hard." The woman reached out and placed a comforting hand on Emily's arm. "You're very brave, you know. Not everyone has the courage to chase after their own happiness." Emily sighed, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "I just hope I haven't hurt them too much. My parents, I mean." The woman's expression softened. Parents always want what's best for their children, even if they don't always understand. "Give them time. They'll come around." Emily nodded gratefully, touched by the woman's empathy. "Thank you. It helps to hear that." As the plane soared through the sky, Emily found herself lost in thought, reflecting on the events that had led her to this moment. She thought back to the arguments with her parents, their desperate attempts to change her mind, and the overwhelming sense of determination that had propelled her forward. Across the aisle, a child's laughter broke through her reverie, reminding her of the innocence she had left behind. She couldn't help but wonder what the future held for her now that she had taken such a drastic step towards independence. Suddenly, the seatbelt sign dinged overhead, signaling the start of the in-flight service. The flight attendant approached Emily with a warm smile. "Would you like something to drink, dear?" Emily nodded, grateful for the distraction. "Yes, please. Water, please." As the flight attendant moved down the aisle, Emily gazed out of the window once more. The sky was now painted in hues of orange and pink as the sun began its descent towards the horizon. It was a reminder that even in the midst of uncertainty, there was beauty and hope to be found. Taking a deep breath, Emily made a silent vow to herself to embrace the challenges ahead with courage and resilience. She knew this journey was not just about physical distance, but also about discovering who she truly was and what she was capable of. With newfound resolve, Emily leaned back in her seat, ready to face whatever lay ahead. As the plane continued its journey towards her new destination, she felt a sense of peace settle over her heart, knowing that she had taken the first step towards a future of her own making. Emily stepped off the plane into a bustling foreign airport, her senses overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of a new country. The air smelled different here, spicy and unfamiliar, and she couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement mixed with nervousness. She navigated her way through customs, clutching her passport and visa documents tightly. As she approached the exit, she caught sight of a sign with her name on it. Standing beside it was a friendly-looking woman with a warm smile. "Emily?" the woman asked, her accent tinged with a hint of local flavor. Emily nodded, relieved to see a familiar face in this foreign place. "Yes, that's me. Hi, I'm Emily." The woman extended her hand. "Welcome to our country, Emily. I'm Maria, your host family coordinator. It's lovely to finally meet you." Emily shook Maria's hand gratefully. "Thank you so much for picking me up. I appreciate it." Maria led Emily through the airport, chatting amiably as they walked towards the parking lot. "How was your flight? Did you have any trouble?" Emily smiled, feeling a sense of camaraderie with Maria already. "It was okay. A bit emotional, but I made it." "That's understandable," Maria said sympathetically. Leaving home for the first time can be quite daunting. They reached Maria's car, and Emily settled into the passenger seat as Maria started the engine. The drive through the city was a blur of unfamiliar sights and sounds, colorful markets, bustling streets, and the occasional glimpse of historic architecture. "So, Emily, tell me about yourself," Maria prompted, glancing at Emily with curiosity. Emily hesitated, unsure where to start. "Well, I'm 18 years old. I just graduated from high school back in the States. I decided to come here to explore, I guess." Maria nodded encouragingly. "That's wonderful. What made you choose our country?" Emily bit her lip, recalling the arguments with her parents about her decision to leave. "I needed a change. Things at home were complicated." Maria sensed Emily's hesitation and changed the subject. "You'll love it here. The people are friendly, the food is amazing, and there's so much to see and do." As they arrived at Maria's home, Emily marveled at the cozy apartment nestled in a lively neighborhood. Maria showed her to a comfortable guest room and insisted on making her a cup of tea. "You must be exhausted from your journey," Maria said kindly, handing Emily a steaming mug. Emily nodded gratefully, wrapping her hands around the warm mug. "Thank you, Maria. I really appreciate your hospitality." Maria smiled warmly. "You're welcome, Emily. Consider this your home away from home." Later that evening, Emily sat alone in her room, reflecting on the whirlwind of emotions she had experienced since leaving home. She missed her parents, despite the disagreements and misunderstandings, but she also felt a newfound sense of freedom and possibility in this foreign land. Her phone buzzed with a message from her mom, asking if she had arrived safely. Emily took a deep breath and replied, assuring her parents that she was fine and settling in. She knew it would take time for them to understand her decision, but she was determined to make the most of this opportunity to find herself and pursue her dreams. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Emily felt a mix of homesickness and excitement for the adventures that lay ahead. She knew this journey was just beginning, and she was ready to embrace the challenges and discoveries that awaited her in her quest for independence abroad. Emily spent her first few weeks in the new country adjusting to her surroundings, gradually settling into a routine of language classes and exploring the vibrant city streets. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries, but also moments of reflection as she navigated her path towards healing and self-discovery. One sunny afternoon, Emily found herself strolling through a local park, marveling at the exotic flowers and the laughter of children playing nearby. She paused to sit on a bench, taking in the tranquility of her surroundings. As she sat lost in thought, a voice startled her out of her reverie. "Hey, mind if I join you?" Emily looked up to see a young woman with a bright smile standing before her. "Oh, hi. Sure, go ahead." The woman sat down beside her, introducing herself as Anna. "I couldn't help but notice you sitting here, lost in thought. Everything okay?" Emily chuckled softly, feeling a pang of homesickness. "Yeah, just adjusting to life here. It's different." Anna nodded understandingly. "Moving to a new country can be tough. I've been there." Emily sighed, deciding to confide in this newfound friend. "I left home because things were complicated with my family. I needed to find myself." Anna listened attentively, her expression sympathetic. "Family stuff, huh? That's always a tough one. But sometimes, distance can give you clarity." Emily nodded, grateful for Anna's empathy. "Yeah, I hope so. It's just hard being so far away." Anna reached into her bag, pulling out a small sketchbook and a pencil. "When I first moved here, I found solace in drawing. It helped me process everything." Emily watched as Anna began sketching the scenery around them, capturing the essence of the park with each stroke of her pencil. "You're really talented," Emily remarked, impressed by Anna's skill. Anna shrugged modestly. "It's just a hobby. Helps me clear my head." They sat in companionable silence for a while, the only sound the scratching of Anna's pencil against the paper. Emily found herself opening up more to Anna, sharing her dreams and fears about the future. "You know," Anna said thoughtfully, "sometimes leaving home is the first step towards finding out who you really are. It's scary, but also exciting." Emily smiled, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. "I think you're right. I needed this time to figure things out." As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, Emily felt a renewed sense of hope stirring within her. She knew that healing wouldn't happen overnight, but she was grateful for moments like this, connecting with someone who understood her journey. "I'm glad we met, Anna," Emily said sincerely, feeling a bond forming between them. Anna grinned, her eyes twinkling with warmth. "Me too, Emily. Friends help each other through the tough times." With Anna's friendship and the support of others she met along the way, Emily embarked on a journey of healing and self-discovery. Each day brought new challenges and opportunities for growth, but she faced them with courage and determination, knowing that she was on the path towards a brighter future, guided by her newfound independence and the lessons learned from her experiences abroad. Emily's initial excitement about starting afresh in a new country soon gave way to the harsh realities of rebuilding her life from scratch. Each day presented its own set of challenges, testing her resilience and determination. One rainy morning, Emily sat in a cozy cafe, nursing a cup of hot tea and staring at her laptop screen. She was searching for job opportunities, hoping to secure a source of income that would sustain her during her stay abroad. Across the cafe, a group of locals chatted animatedly, their laughter mingling with the soft strains of background music. Emily couldn't help but feel a pang of loneliness amidst the lively atmosphere. As she scrolled through job listings, her phone buzzed with a message from her parents. She hesitated before opening it, bracing herself for another wave of guilt and longing. "Emily, sweetheart, how are you doing?" her mom's message read. "We miss you terribly. Please call us when you can." Emily sighed, her heart heavy with conflicting emotions. She missed her parents too, despite the disagreements that had driven her to leave. But she knew that staying here was essential for her growth and independence. Just then, a voice interrupted her thoughts. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Emily looked up to see a middle-aged woman with a warm smile standing beside her. "No, it's free. Please, have a seat." The woman introduced herself as Kate, a local entrepreneur who frequented the cafe for meetings. "Are you new here?" Kate asked, curiosity gleaming in her eyes. Emily nodded, grateful for the opportunity to connect with someone new. "Yes, I moved here recently, trying to find my footing." Kate nodded sympathetically. "Starting over in a new place is never easy. I've been there myself." Emily smiled ruefully. "I thought it would be a fresh start, but it's harder than I expected." Kate leaned forward, her expression empathetic. "It takes time, Emily. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say." They chatted for a while longer, Kate offering advice on navigating the local job market and making connections in the community. Emily found herself opening up about her dreams and aspirations, sharing her hopes for the future despite the challenges she faced. "I know it's tough," Kate said kindly, "but don't lose sight of why you came here. You're brave for taking this leap." Emily nodded, feeling a renewed sense of determination. "Thank you, Kate. I needed to hear that." As they parted ways, Emily felt a glimmer of hope amidst the uncertainty. She returned to her laptop with renewed vigor, determined to persevere in her quest to build a new life for herself in this unfamiliar yet promising city. The challenges of starting over would continue to test Emily's resolve, but with each small victory and supportive encounter, she grew stronger and more confident in her ability to overcome obstacles and embrace the opportunities that lay ahead. Emily knew that navigating life in a new country required more than just determination. It required a strong support system. As she settled into her routine, she actively sought out opportunities to connect with others and build meaningful relationships. One evening, Emily attended a language exchange meetup at a local community center. The room buzzed with conversation as people from different backgrounds mingled, practicing their language skills and sharing stories of their experiences abroad. Emily found herself paired with Miguel, a fellow language enthusiast with a contagious enthusiasm for life. "So, Emily, what brought you to our city?" Miguel asked, his accent adding a musical quality to his words. Emily smiled warmly, grateful for the chance to share her story. "I moved here a few months ago. Needed a change of scenery, you know?" Miguel nodded knowingly. "I get that. Sometimes, you have to step out of your comfort zone to grow." As they conversed, Emily learned about Miguel's journey. He had moved to the city years ago for university and had since built a thriving career in marketing. His passion for connecting with people and exploring new cultures resonated with Emily. Their conversation flowed easily, punctuated by laughter and moments of shared understanding. Emily felt a sense of camaraderie with Miguel and the others at the meetup, realizing that she wasn't alone in her quest for connection and belonging. Later that week, Emily attended a local art exhibition recommended by Miguel. The vibrant paintings and sculptures sparked her creativity, inspiring her to explore her own artistic side through sketching and painting. At the exhibition, Emily struck up a conversation with Elena, a talented artist who had recently relocated to the city herself. They bonded over their shared love for art and their experiences of starting over in a new place. "I never thought I'd find such a welcoming community here," Emily admitted to Elena, her voice tinged with gratitude. Elena smiled warmly. "You'll find that people here are open-minded and eager to embrace newcomers. It's one of the things I love most about this city." Over time, Emily's circle of friends and acquaintances grew, each person contributing in their own way to her support system. From attending cultural events together to exploring local cafes and parks, Emily found comfort and encouragement in their shared experiences. One evening, Emily hosted a small dinner gathering at her apartment, inviting Miguel, Elena, and a few other friends she had met along the way. As they shared a meal and exchanged stories, Emily felt a deep sense of belonging and gratitude for the friendships she had cultivated. "You've created quite a community here, Emily," Miguel remarked, raising his glass in a toast. Emily smiled, her heart full. "I couldn't have done it without all of you. Thank you for welcoming me with open arms." Building a support system in a new country wasn't without its challenges, but Emily knew that with friends like Miguel, Elena, and the others by her side, she had found a home away from home. A place where she could grow, thrive, and continue her journey of self-discovery with courage and resilience. Emily quickly learned that maintaining boundaries was crucial as she navigated her new life abroad. While building connections was essential, she also needed to ensure her own well-being and protect her newfound independence. One afternoon, Emily received a call from her mother, Beth, back in her home country. "Emily, honey, it's been a while since we've heard from you. How are you doing over there?" Emily took a deep breath, bracing herself for the familiar tug of guilt that often accompanied conversations with her parents. "I'm doing okay, Mom. Just busy with work and settling in." Beth's voice softened. "We miss you, sweetheart. Your father and I worry about you being so far away." Emily hesitated, feeling the weight of her mother's concern. "I know, Mom. I appreciate your concern, but I'm managing." Beth sighed softly. "Have you thought about coming back for a visit? It's been so long since we've seen you." Emily chewed on her lip, torn between wanting to reconnect with her family and maintaining her boundaries. "I'm not sure, Mom. I'm still getting used to things here." Beth fell silent for a moment before changing the subject. "Well, just know that we're here for you, Emily. Whenever you're ready to talk or visit, we'll be waiting." After ending the call, Emily felt a mix of emotions, gratitude for her parents' love and concern, yet a sense of unease about balancing her new life with her family's expectations. Later that week, Emily met with a colleague, Sarah, for coffee after work. Sarah had quickly become a close friend and confidant, someone Emily trusted to provide perspective on her situation. "So, how are things with your family?" Sarah asked gently, stirring her latte. Emily sighed, stirring her own coffee thoughtfully. "It's complicated. They mean well, but sometimes I feel suffocated by their expectations." Sarah nodded in understanding. "It's tough, especially when you're trying to establish your independence. Have you talked to them about setting boundaries?" Emily shook her head, her brow furrowing. "Not really. I'm not sure how they'll react." Sarah reached across the table, placing a reassuring hand on Emily's arm. "Emily, it's important to communicate your needs. Your parents love you, but they need to respect your choices and the life you're building here." Encouraged by Sarah's words, Emily resolved to have a candid conversation with her parents about boundaries. That weekend, she called her parents and arranged a video call. "Mom, Dad, I wanted to talk to you about something," Emily began, her voice steady yet filled with apprehension. Beth and her father, David, exchanged a concerned glance before focusing on Emily. "Is everything okay, sweetheart?" David asked gently. Emily took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "I appreciate your love and support, but I need to set some boundaries. I'm building a new life here, and I need space to grow and figure things out on my own." There was a pause on the other end of the call as Beth and David processed Emily's words. Beth spoke first, her voice tinged with sadness. "We just want what's best for you, Emily. We worry about you being so far away." "I know, Mom," Emily replied softly, "and I appreciate that. But I need to do this for myself. I hope you can understand." David nodded slowly. "We'll try our best, Emily. Just know that we love you and want you to be happy." As the conversation continued, Emily felt a weight lift off her shoulders. By expressing her need for boundaries, she was taking a crucial step towards defining her own path and asserting her independence. In the weeks that followed, Emily maintained regular contact with her parents while also honoring her need for space and autonomy. It wasn't always easy, but she knew that setting and maintaining boundaries was essential for her well-being and continued growth in her new life abroad. Emily's journey abroad wasn't just about physical distance. It was also a quest to navigate and heal from deep emotional wounds. As she settled into her new life, she found herself confronting unresolved issues from her past that continued to shape her present. One evening, Emily sat alone in her cozy apartment, the soft glow of candlelight casting shadows on the walls. She had been journaling, a practice she had adopted to process her thoughts and emotions. Flipping through the pages, Emily paused at an entry from a few weeks ago. In it, she had poured out her frustrations about feeling disconnected and lost in her new surroundings. Memories of her tumultuous relationship with her parents resurfaced, triggering a wave of sadness and resentment. Suddenly, there was a knock on her door, interrupting her thoughts. Emily hesitated before opening it, surprised to find Miguel standing there with a concerned expression. "Hey, Emily. I was passing by and thought I'd check in on you," Miguel said gently, stepping into the apartment. Emily smiled gratefully, grateful for his thoughtfulness. "Thanks, Miguel. Come in." They settled on the couch, and Miguel glanced at Emily's journal lying open on the coffee table. "Journaling?" he asked, his eyes full of curiosity. Emily nodded, feeling a sense of relief at having someone to confide in. "Yeah, it helps me sort through everything going on in my head." Miguel leaned forward, his voice softening. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed, Emily. Moving abroad is a big change, and it's natural to have mixed emotions." Emily sighed, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "I know. It's just, sometimes, the past feels like it's still holding me back." Miguel nodded in understanding. "You're carrying a lot of emotional baggage, Emily, but confronting it is the first step towards healing." Emily fidgeted with the edge of her journal, her thoughts swirling. "I want to move forward, Miguel. I just don't know how to let go of all this baggage." Miguel placed a comforting hand on Emily's shoulder. "You don't have to do it alone. Talking about it helps, and so does giving yourself time to heal." Their conversation drifted into the night, as Emily shared more about her upbringing and the challenges she had faced growing up. Miguel listened attentively, offering words of encouragement and empathy. "I think you're stronger than you realize, Emily," Miguel said softly, his gaze warm and reassuring. "You've already taken a brave step by coming here and starting over." Emily smiled faintly, a flicker of hope igniting within her. "Thank you, Miguel. I needed to hear that." In the days that followed, Emily continued to explore her emotional landscape, journaling, and reflecting on her past experiences. She also sought support from a local therapist, taking proactive steps towards healing and self-discovery. Through it all, Miguel remained a steadfast friend, offering unwavering support and encouragement. Together, they navigated the complexities of emotional baggage, helping Emily to confront her past with courage and compassion. As Emily gradually unpacked her emotional baggage, she felt lighter and more at peace with herself. She knew that healing was a journey, but with Miguel and her newfound resilience by her side, she was ready to embrace the future with renewed strength and optimism. Emily's journey abroad was not just about escaping her past, but also about embracing opportunities for personal growth. As she settled into her new life, she actively pursued avenues that allowed her to develop and evolve as an individual. One sunny afternoon, Emily found herself strolling through a bustling street market, marveling at the vibrant array of local produce and handmade crafts. She had made it a point to immerse herself in the culture of her new city, eager to expand her horizons. As she browsed through a stall selling intricate handmade jewelry, Emily struck up a conversation with the artisan, Maria, a talented local artist known for her unique designs. "These pieces are beautiful," Emily remarked, admiring a delicate silver necklace adorned with colorful gemstones. Maria smiled warmly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Thank you. Each piece tells a story, inspired by the beauty and diversity of our city." Emily nodded in appreciation, her curiosity piqued. "I'm new here, actually. I'm trying to soak up as much as I can." Maria's expression softened with empathy. Starting over in a new place can be challenging, but it's also an opportunity for growth. "How are you finding it so far?" Emily hesitated, her thoughts drifting to the hurdles she had overcome since arriving. "It's been a journey. I left behind a lot to be here, but I'm starting to feel more at home." Maria nodded knowingly. Change is never easy, but it forces us to confront parts of ourselves we might have overlooked. Their conversation deepened as Emily shared her aspirations and dreams for the future. Maria listened intently, offering words of encouragement and insight based on her own experiences as a local artist. "I think you're on the right path, Emily," Maria said warmly, handing her a small card with her contact information. "If you ever need guidance or just someone to talk to, feel free to reach out." Grateful for Maria's kindness, Emily continued to explore her new surroundings with renewed purpose. She attended local workshops, joined community events, and even enrolled in language classes to deepen her connection with the city and its people. One evening, Emily met Miguel for dinner at a cozy cafe tucked away in a quaint alley. Over plates of savory local cuisine, they reflected on their respective journeys and the growth they had experienced since arriving. "You seem more at peace, Emily," Miguel observed, sipping his espresso thoughtfully. Emily smiled, a sense of contentment settling over her. "I feel like I'm finally finding my footing. Being here has challenged me in ways I never expected, but it's also shown me how resilient I can be." Miguel raised his glass in a toast to new beginnings and personal growth. As Emily clinked her glass with his, she knew that her journey was far from over. Each day brought new lessons and opportunities for growth, and she embraced them with a newfound sense of courage and optimism. Achieving personal growth wasn't just about overcoming challenges. It was about embracing change, learning from experiences, and discovering the limitless potential within oneself. Emily was determined to continue her journey with an open heart and a steadfast belief in her own strength. Emily had finally found a sense of peace in her newfound independence. Away from the constraints and expectations of her past, she embraced the freedom to live life on her own terms, finding solace in moments of tranquility and self-discovery. One crisp morning, Emily sat on a bench overlooking a serene lake in a nearby park. The gentle breeze played with her hair as she sipped her favorite coffee, savoring the quiet beauty of the moment. As she gazed at the shimmering water, memories of her tumultuous past with her parents surfaced, mingling with a profound sense of gratitude for how far she had come. Suddenly, a voice interrupted her reverie. "Mind if I join you?" Emily looked up to see Miguel approaching with a warm smile. "Hey, Miguel. Of course, sit down." They settled on the bench together, the morning sunlight casting a golden hue over the surroundings. Miguel took a sip of his own coffee before turning to Emily with a thoughtful expression. "You seem at peace," Miguel observed quietly. "How are you feeling?" Emily sighed contentedly, her gaze returning to the tranquil lake. "I finally feel free, Miguel. Being here, away from everything. It's given me the space to breathe and to be myself." Miguel nodded in understanding. It's incredible how much can change when we step out of our comfort zones and embrace new opportunities. Emily nodded, her thoughts drifting to the challenges she had faced and overcome since moving abroad. I used to think that peace meant having everything figured out. Now, I realize it's about accepting the journey, with all its ups and downs. Miguel chuckled softly. Life has a funny way of teaching us lessons when we least expect it. They sat in companionable silence for a while, enjoying the stillness of the morning. Emily felt a deep sense of gratitude for Miguel's friendship and support throughout her journey of self-discovery. "I'm glad you're here, Miguel," Emily said sincerely, breaking the silence. "You've been a constant source of encouragement." Miguel smiled warmly. "And you've shown incredible strength, Emily. Not everyone can leave behind everything they've known to pursue their happiness." Their conversation drifted to lighter topics as they continued to enjoy the peaceful surroundings. Emily knew that life would continue to present challenges, but in that moment, she found comfort in knowing that she had found peace in her independence. As Emily embraced her newfound sense of peace, she vowed to cherish every moment of her journey, celebrating the lessons learned and the growth experienced along the way. With Miguel by her side and a renewed sense of purpose, she looked forward to what the future held, confident in her ability to navigate life with courage and grace. Emily stood on the balcony of her apartment, watching the city lights twinkle in the evening dusk. The view was breathtaking, a reminder of how far she had come. She felt a mix of excitement and nervousness as she contemplated her future. Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a video call from her friend and mentor, Karen, who had been a pillar of support since Emily arrived. "Hey, Emily, how's it going?" Karen's cheerful voice filled the room as her face appeared on the screen. "Hi, Karen. Things are good. Just enjoying the view and thinking about what's next," Emily replied, her voice tinged with anticipation. Karen raised an eyebrow. "What's on your mind? Any new plans?" Emily sighed, her gaze drifting back to the cityscape. "I've been thinking about starting my own business. Something small, maybe a cafe. A place where people can feel at home." Karen's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "That sounds amazing, Emily. You have the passion and creativity for it. What's holding you back?" Emily hesitated, the familiar doubts creeping in. "I guess I'm scared of failing. What if it doesn't work out?" Karen's expression softened. "Emily, you've already proven to yourself that you can handle change and overcome challenges. Starting a business is just another step in your journey." Emily nodded slowly, taking in Karen's words. "You're right. I just need to take the leap and trust myself." As they continued to talk, Emily felt a renewed sense of determination. She had faced so much adversity and come out stronger. The idea of opening a cafe felt like the perfect way to channel her energy and passion. Later that week, Emily met with Miguel at their favorite cafe to share her plans. The cozy ambience and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee provided the perfect setting for their conversation. "I've decided to open my own cafe," Emily announced, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Miguel's face broke into a wide grin. "That's incredible, Emily. I can already see it being a huge success. What kind of vibe are you going for?" Emily leaned forward, her enthusiasm palpable. "I want it to be a welcoming space where people can relax and connect. Maybe even host events like open mic nights and art exhibitions." Miguel nodded approvingly. "Sounds like a place I'd love to hang out at. Have you thought about a name yet?" Emily paused, her mind racing with possibilities. "Not yet, but something that reflects warmth and community. Any ideas?" Miguel pondered for a moment. "How about Haven Cafe? It sounds like a safe and welcoming place." Emily's eyes lit up. "I love it. Haven Cafe it is." Their conversation turned to the logistics of starting a business, with Miguel offering practical advice and insights. As they discussed potential locations, suppliers, and marketing strategies, Emily felt a sense of clarity and purpose. A few days later, Emily received an unexpected call from her mother. Her heart raced as she answered, unsure of what to expect. "Emily, it's your mom. I've been thinking a lot about our last conversation," her mother began, her voice uncharacteristically soft. Emily took a deep breath, bracing herself. "What is it, Mom?" "I realize I've been controlling and unfair to you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I know I can't change the past, but I want to be part of your future. If you'll let me," her mother said, her tone filled with sincerity. Emily felt a mix of emotions, from relief to skepticism. "Mom, I appreciate the apology, but it's going to take time to rebuild trust. I'm focusing on my new life and my goals right now." Her mother's voice wavered slightly. "I understand. Take all the time you need. Just know that I'm here, rooting for you." After the call, Emily sat quietly, reflecting on the conversation. It was a step towards healing, but she knew that her future was hers to shape, free from the shadows of her past. With renewed determination, Emily threw herself into her plans for Haven Cafe. She researched the best locations, met with potential partners, and even started designing the interior. One evening, as she sketched out ideas at her kitchen table, Miguel stopped by with a bottle of wine to celebrate her progress. To new beginnings and chasing dreams, Miguel toasted, raising his glass. Emily clinked her glass against his, a smile spreading across her face. To the future and all the possibilities it holds. As they sipped their wine, Emily felt a deep sense of contentment. She was no longer defined by her past, but by the dreams and aspirations she was actively pursuing. The future was bright, and she was ready to embrace it with open arms, surrounded by friends who believed in her and the boundless potential of what lay ahead. Emily sat in her cozy cafe, Haven Cafe, a year after its grand opening. The place was buzzing with patrons, each enjoying the warm, welcoming atmosphere she had envisioned. She had come a long way, and as she watched people sip their coffee and chat, she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Miguel, her loyal friend and confidant, walked in, carrying a cake to celebrate the cafe's first anniversary. "Emily, you did it!" Miguel exclaimed, placing the cake on the counter. "Happy anniversary to Haven Cafe!" Emily beamed, her eyes shining with pride. "I couldn't have done it without your support, Miguel. You've been with me every step of the way." Miguel pulled up a chair and sat down. "So, tell me, what's the biggest lesson you've learned through all this?" Emily thought for a moment, then replied that it's okay to be afraid, but it's more important to take action despite the fear. Moving here, starting this cafe, it was terrifying, but if I hadn't taken that leap, I'd still be stuck in my old life. Miguel nodded thoughtfully. Fear can be paralyzing, but you've shown incredible courage. What about dealing with your parents? Any advice for someone in a similar situation? Emily sighed, memories of her turbulent relationship with her parents flooding back. "I've learned that setting boundaries is crucial. It's hard, especially with family, but sometimes it's the only way to protect your own well-being." Just then, a young woman named Jessica, who had recently started working at the cafe, approached their table. She looked nervous, her hands fidgeting with her apron. "Emily, can I talk to you for a minute?" Jessica asked hesitantly. "Of course, Jessica. What's on your mind?" Emily replied, her tone encouraging. Jessica glanced at Miguel before speaking. "I'm thinking about moving out of my parents' house. They're very controlling, and I feel suffocated. But I'm scared. What if I fail?" Emily reached out and placed a comforting hand on Jessica's shoulder. "I understand exactly how you feel. When I left home, I was terrified. But sometimes, taking that step is the only way to truly find yourself. You have to trust in your ability to adapt and grow." Jessica nodded, her eyes welling up with tears. "But what if they don't support me? What if they try to pull me back?" Miguel chimed in, his voice gentle but firm. "That's when you need to stand your ground. It's not easy, but you have to prioritize your own happiness and mental health. You deserve to live a life that makes you feel fulfilled." Emily added, "And remember, you're not alone. Build a support system of friends who understand and support your decision. It made all the difference for me." Jessica wiped her tears and managed a small smile. "Thank you both. I feel a bit more confident now." After Jessica returned to her duties, Miguel turned to Emily. "You're really making a difference, Emily. Not just with this cafe, but with the people who come here." Emily smiled, her heart full. "That's the goal, Miguel. I want Haven Cafe to be more than just a place to get coffee. I want it to be a sanctuary, a place where people can find support and inspiration." As the evening wore on and the cafe began to quiet down, Emily and Miguel reflected on their journey together. "Do you remember the day at the airport?" Miguel asked suddenly, a mischievous glint in his eye. Emily laughed, shaking her head. "How could I forget? My parents were determined to stop me from leaving. But look at us now." Miguel raised his glass in a toast. "To breaking free and finding our own path. May we continue to learn and grow, and help others do the same." Emily clinked her glass against his, her heart swelling with gratitude and hope. To the future, and all the lessons yet to be learned. In that moment, Emily felt a profound sense of peace. She had faced her fears, overcome countless challenges, and found her true calling. And as she looked around Haven Cafe, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. Spending more quality time with your family is essential to strengthening bonds and creating lasting memories. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, often leading to disconnection from those we love the most. As we saw in Emily's story, breaking free from a toxic environment and rebuilding her life was challenging, but she found solace and strength in the quality time she spent with new friends who became her chosen family. Dedicating special moments to be with your family can solve many common problems, such as lack of communication and feelings of disconnection. When you spend quality time together, you open up channels of communication, fostering a deeper understanding and empathy among family members. This can help in resolving conflicts, reducing stress, and building a supportive home environment. As Emily discovered, finding people who genuinely cared for her well-being made all the difference in her healing journey. Quality time together isn't just about being in the same place. It's about connecting on a deeper level, sharing experiences, and creating a strong support system. If Emily's journey has resonated with you, and you're looking for ways to foster stronger connections within your own family, we have the perfect solution. Our ebook offers a complete, in-depth guide to creating quality family moments that can transform your relationships. It's packed with practical tips, activities, and insights to help you build a happier, more connected family life. Don't let the precious moments slip away. Take the first step towards a more fulfilling family experience by purchasing our ebook today. Your journey to a stronger, more united family starts now.